Hey guys, Cajun Cardboard coming at you from the great state of Louisiana. It is Thursday, February 10th. It is the trade deadline in the NBA. A lot of great things have been going on. If you haven't seen my 5 most likely to be traded players video that I put out on Monday, go check it out. So far I'm 3 for 5. There's still an hour and a half left, so maybe a couple other guys will also move. I guess we'll know by the time you watch this video. But anyway, I wanted you guys to bring this to you guys. I woke up in the middle of the night last night and I had this idea to put this video together. This is just the kind of stuff that, you know, I talk about with my buddies here in Baton Rouge, my basketball card collecting friends, and just my NBA fan friends, guys I play fantasy basketball with. We talk about stuff like this all the time. I wanted to share with you my current best street ball starting 5. You've got to pull players from the active NBA today. There are no positions, well, you've got to fill the position: center, 2 forwards, and 2 guards, but we know it's positionless basketball. I've filled those spots. So I've got my best starting 5 as a bonus. I've also got for you guys my honorable mention 5, the guys who just missed it. I'm going to tell you who just missed it and why they missed it, and then I'm going to show you my current starting 5. There is one caveat. We're assuming everybody's healthy, right? So they're the age they are now. So it's still 36-year-old LeBron. You can't say I want 19-year-old LeBron. So you got to take the guys that are playing in the NBA right now, today, on February 10th, 2022. But we're going to assume everybody's healthy. So that brings guys back into the mix that are out. So I'll let you figure out why that rule is made. But you'll see when I put the list together who my starting 5 is. So I don't want to take any more time. Let's get started. And we're going to go in no particular order. These are my honorable mention guys. These are guys that were in my 6 through 10, but just didn't make it into the starting lineup for one reason or another. So number 1, oops, that didn't work. Number 1 here is James Harden. James Harden did not make it in. He would be an absolutely amazing player in a pickup game. Obviously, he can play the 1, the 2, and probably the 3 because he's got such good size. The issue with James Harden is he is an extremely poor defender, which in and of itself is not enough to keep him out of my best street ball starting 5. But you also throw into the fact that so much of his game is predicated on getting foul calls. And if you guys have played true street ball, we're talking about going out to the park and just lining up the 5 best players that you can play to take on anybody in the world. You call your own fouls. And if you call your own fouls and they're BS ticky-tack fouls, you just get kind of run out. And you just get run out of the street ball game, right? And so we're going to assume it's call your own fouls, and it's going to be pretty nasty and pretty rough and physical. And so keep that in mind when we look at my my starting 5 for my best street ball 5. So Harden did not make the cut. Guard from the now Philadelphia 76ers. Just got traded less than an hour ago. The next person, on my honorable mention list that did not make it is Trae Young. Similar reasons to James Harden. It's very difficult for me to put tiny people on this team. I did make an exception. I'm not going to tell you who, but I had to choose between him and another relatively small guard. I was trying to keep larger, longer, more physical guys that could guard multiple positions on my team, because that would they would be able to exploit mismatches. And for that reason, you know, Trae Young can't post anybody and he can't stop anybody in the post. And so I had to choose between him and another similarly situated player who's making a push for MVP, hint, hint. And I chose the other player. So Trae Young just missed out. He is in my honorable mention, but he does not make it into my best 5. Next on the list, we've got none other than LUKA DONCIC. You guys may be shocked that LUKA did not make it in my starting 5, but he did not. And it's just a matter of personnel and where players fit. I'm going to take a lot of shit for this one. I'm sure there's a lot of LUKA fans out there. He meets my prototypical size requirement. He's got all the swag and flash that's necessary to play street ball. He is a little bit whiny, which would bother me in a street ball situation where people beat the hell out of each other. But LUKA did not make it. Believe it or not, go look at his numbers on basketballreference.com. He is not an exceptional outside shooter. And we know he's not an elite athlete. He does create for others, but I worried that His game, just like James Harden, is so predicated on being a ball stopper and having the ball in his hands that it would disrupt the flow of my starting five. And so for that reason, LUKA did not make it. He just wasn't a good fit. Certainly, I would probably put him right there in my top 5, 6, 7 players in the world right now in an NBA setting as far as having their own team. But for my street ball starting five, LUKA did not make the cut. Just too ball dominant and too high a usage rate required to be effective. So LUKA did not make it. He's in the honorable mention. Next in my honorable mention is NIKOLA JOKIC. Obviously, arguably the best center in the NBA. He won the NBA MVP last year. He's tricky enough to play in my starting five. And when he's 50, he'll probably be in my 50 and older starting five just because he's got that old school game where he can just take you in the post. Nothing he does, none of his excellence is predicated on his athletic ability. He's just a really, really intelligent basketball player, great skill, and a basketball genius and a savant when it comes to passing the basketball. He does not make it because he can only guard one position, and that's the 5 position. He struggles to guard smaller 4s, let alone 3s, 2s, and 1s. And in a street ball game, as you guys know, there's a lot of up and down, and that's where JOKIC gets left behind. And for that reason, he did not make it into my starting 5. Next, in honorable mention, and this really was the last one that I cut. Well, him and DONCIC. I could not put another center. I could not put Joel Embiid into my starting 5. And so obviously you're probably wondering to yourself, who is going to be the center on my starting 5? Joel does not make it. He's a little bit more fleet-footed than JOKIC. He's obviously bigger than JOKIC. He's one of the biggest centers in the NBA right now, along with Drummond and a few other guys. He would be an incredible mismatch offensively, as you can see from what he's doing to opposing centers this season. But for the same reason, JOKIC didn't make it. I need a guy who can guard multiple positions. Embiid probably has a better chance of guarding 4s and 3s than JOKIC, but he doesn't. He would not match up well with the player that I've chosen to be my center on my street ball starting 5. So that's it for the honorable mention. Let's get cranking with who is in the actual starting 5. In the comment below, I cannot wait. Hopefully this starts a little discussion. But remember, this is for one street ball game, playing to 15 on concrete with chain nets and 100-degree heat outside with the wind blowing. So this is with that in mind, this is my starting 5, where nastiness and toughness and flexibility and length and athleticism and all of the above come into play. No surprise, that's my center. And yes, I'm biased. And yes, he's my favorite player and he plays for my favorite team, but I'm putting him at center because of what he's doing to the NBA right now when he plays the center position. He is one of the few people in the entire NBA that can guard 1 through 5. He can guard pretty much every center in the game of basketball except probably JOKIC or Embiid, where they're just too dang big. But I put Giannis as my 5 because he's just now starting to stretch a little bit. So if the other team in my street ball game happens to have a true big, Giannis is going to absolutely destroy them. Barbecue chicken, as Shaq and Barkley would say. Giannis would exploit the center in a street ball game the exact same way he exploits centers in the NBA today. If you put a little guy on him, he's now gotten to the point where he understands turn your back to the basket, take the mouse in the house, and put him in the blender down in the post. He's as flexible as it gets offensively. He's as flexible as it gets defensively. It was with no hesitation that I decided that Giannis would be the center on my all-time starting 5. Next is my first forward. Again, no surprise, right? We're talking about flexibility, malleability, ability to play multiple positions on offense and guard multiple positions. The ability in a street ball game, if you have a small guy on you, to destroy him in the post. If you have a big guy on you, to absolutely blow by him and finish at the rim, finish in the mid-range, or dish out to your teammates standing at the open three-point line. He can score on all 3 levels, three-pointers, mid-range, scoring at the rim. He can create for others. He's a good passer. He can see over the top of everybody. He is always a mismatch. If he's always a mismatch in the NBA, he's sure as hell always going to be a mismatch in a street ball game. So Kevin Durant's my first forward. My second forward is still the venerable old goat, baby goat, I should say, LeBron James. Regardless of his age, right now, LeBron James in a street ball game would be one of the most frightening things you could possibly imagine, especially when you consider that he's running down the middle of the floor with the basketball in his hands, and he's got Giannis running on one side and Kevin Durant running on the other side. Just like everything I said about Kevin Durant applies just to LeBron. Same exact way. He's a 3-level scorer. When he wants to defend, he is a huge problem on defense. Him being engaged on defense is an issue that you can pick up on in the NBA, especially during the regular season. But when LeBron slaps the floor and says, "You're not scoring," he is a pretty damn good defender, even at the age he's at right now. So for all the same reasons Durant fits, LeBron fits the same way. He's 6'8", 255, I'm guessing, 245, 250. He can guard, 4 positions probably. I don't know what center is going to exploit LeBron other than the 2 honorable mention centers we just named. And he can score, obviously, in the mid post. He can score in the deep post. And if you put a true guard on him, it's lights out. So those are my 2 forwards to go with Giannis at center. My guards, guard number 1. And remember, the caveat was we are assuming they are healthy. Kawhi Leonard is my next guard. He does not need the ball to be effective. He is one of the most elite perimeter defenders in the world. In a street ball game, you can get into people. You can put hands on them. You can dare them to call ticky-tack touch fouls. I just think there's no one on earth that has a more well-rounded two-way game than Kawhi Leonard, especially if you put him in a street ball situation. He doesn't need the ball all the time, so his usage rate is very low, which is a good fit for the rest of the players on my team. And he will always guard the other team's best offensive perimeter player, which will cover up the only potential deficiency in my starting 5, which is the next guard. The one and only Matthew. No, I'm just kidding. It's not DELLAVEDOVA. It was difficult to pass over Matt, who's one of the most, got the most passion maybe of any player in the NBA, despite being the worst player in NBA history. But I did pass over Matt DELLAVEDOVA. This was just a joke. My point guard on the team, actually, as I said, I had to choose between 2 small guards, and he got the nod over TRAE Young. It's Ja Morant. So the first thing you're going to say is, you said no small guards. In a street ball game, he would get bullied. And that's where the other 4 guys come in. So I've got tremendous help defense, guys that can help and recover. So if the other team did have a big, strong, monster, muscular guard with a couple of inches on Ja Morant that was trying to put him into the post, I've got guys that can help and recover and close out to the three-pointer like nobody else between Durant, Giannis, LeBron, and Kawhi Leonard. Those are 3 of the longest, most flexible wing defenders, perimeter defenders, post defenders. They can cover up for Ja Morant's deficiency. I put Ja Morant at 1 because I don't think he needs the ball as much as Harden or as DONCIC or as TRAE Young. I think he could play off the ball with LeBron, and it would be a frightening sight for Ja Morant to be playing on a wing and catch the ball with a defender running at him. I mean, he's blowing by defenders now with the ball in his hands without making a pass on a trip up the court in the NBA. So I just think he gives me the flexibility, and obviously, in a street ball game, you want guys that can jump, that can fly, that can get up and down the court, and he pushes the ball up and down the court about as quick as anybody. So that's my starting 5 guys. It's Ja Morant, it's Kawhi Leonard, not Matthew DELLAVEDOVA. It is Giannis at my center position because he can guard anybody and everybody, and then Kevin Durant and LeBron James. But anyway, that's it, guys. Hope you all enjoyed that. We'll keep the video short and sweet, under 15 minutes. I really do want you to comment. Let me know below why I'm wrong and why you're right. And I want to know who your starting 5 is. I don't want you just to tell me my starting 5 is dumb. I want you to tell me who your starting 5 is, because remember, when you post a comment, I can reply to it, and so can everybody else that's watching the channel. If you enjoy videos like this and you want to see other top 5 lists, top 10 lists, and just general, stuff where we just talk about basketball in general, let me know. I'm always looking for new ideas of new videos, and I really appreciate the feedback and the comments that I get. Hit the subscribe button in the bottom right corner of your screen if you want to watch future videos like this, and check out the description on my page to see some of the regularly scheduled videos that I release on Mondays and Thursdays and Fridays. Anyway, thanks for watching. Stay positive in the hobby. Keep collecting, and peace.